On a recent trip to drop my kid off at school, two things occurred to me as we were being tailgated on a city-designated bike route by a person driving an oversized SUV. First, I was in no hurry to get anywhere, and second, you can reach any part of Seattle in under an hour, driving 15 miles per hour. And after reflection, I've realized that I've subconsciously become accustomed to moving at a slower pace after becoming a parent and getting a family bike, which probably sounds either impossible or aggravating, or both, to most parents in North America. In the US, we're accustomed to believe that there's just not enough time. And unless we're doing things as fast as possible, then we're going to fall behind. And truthfully, I think that it's a byproduct of sprawl and our reliance on cars. The faster we move, the further we can live away from our daily needs like food or healthcare, education, and even each other. And maybe it's because I've never had to live life behind a steering wheel, stuck in traffic, worrying about parking, and all that stuff that's associated with car driving. But this subconscious changing of cadence has really helped my mental health. Instead of stressing about time, which I did when I was completely reliant on public transportation, I'm now more content taking time with almost anything in life and rarely feel rushed. And I would be lying if I didn't say that I wish it was more convenient to take my time, but at least now I kind of don't care if things take time. And that has been a sort of relief. That's not to say I'm not stressed when maneuvering around the city, but it's less about being late or missing a transfer and more about just literally dying at the hands of an impatient driver. And this got me thinking about a big criticism that we hear about cities from people who choose to live in a more rural or suburban area, that they're loud, hectic places where you can't live a slow or simple life. It's understandable to have that feeling that to live in a city, you need to rush everywhere, to be aggressive with your movement through space, or generally have a fast pace. If you live in North America, where we're living further away from work, where shopping for groceries is a voyage, or where parents are seemingly endlessly shepherding their kids from one activity to another. In my opinion, this isn't inevitable. In fact, more and more, I believe that a great, well-functioning city can and should slow your pace of life. So I decided to test this theory while spending a few weeks in the world's largest metropolis. Nearly 40 million people call Greater Tokyo home. 6.4 million people per day use the Tokyo Metro. The megacity is home to active, hyper-dense areas like Shibuya, where 3,000 people at a time cross the world's busiest intersection, Shibuya Crossing, or Shinjuku, where the busiest train station in the world, Shinjuku Station, serves 3.6 million people per day. And you can walk to the market or bike your kids to school, talk to your neighbors, play in the street, and sometimes even hear absolute silence. No chaos, no people pushing or jostling, no weird competition for public space, no aggression or casual threats, no one dictating anyone else's pace. Some folks may find it counterintuitive. There's more people here, after all, than the whole of Canada or California. So what's the deal? I've lived in large cities in North America and Europe, and I've lived in rural and suburban places in North America. As a disabled non-driver, I can tell you that I've never felt more rushed than when I was living in a rural community, a suburban community, or even a single-family neighborhood in an American city. On the flip side, while I was living in Paris, my life slowed down dramatically. And now in Tokyo, I'm finding that everyone moves through space at a pace that the old adage about hectic cities would suggest shouldn't be possible in the world's largest metropolis. So really, what's the difference? In my experience, two things stand out. First, proximity to services, schools, parks, leisure, public restrooms, and groceries. And then second, mobility share and level of access to a variety of mobility options. As I've said in previous videos, while living in Paris, the true game changer for me was access to most of life's essentials within 500 feet of my home. There was no need to get groceries for a week, or rush across the city to pick something up, or worry about the next train on the way to class or work. Anything that wasn't immediately nearby was a short, frequent metro ride away. This is something that I witnessed in Tokyo too. Shopping trips are done by foot or by bike, allowing folks to get enough groceries for a couple of days. Parents can bike their kids to school or childcare because schools and childcare are everywhere. Gotta pee? There's a public toilet within 2 minutes of your location. Need a snack on the go? I guarantee there's a vending machine for that, and probably not far away. Do you have to leave your neighborhood? Tokyo's metro and regional rail can get you anywhere in less than an hour. This system works so well that children can live with autonomy. This is something that we witnessed every day in Tokyo. Kids walking to school, kids taking the metro across town, kids going to the park in the middle of the street. Rarely are people running. Rarely are people pressuring you to move. There's no tailgating drivers. There's no voyage for everyday essentials. There's no constant competition for public space. When your environment asks you to travel long distances for everything, when your time feels limited and compressed because you can't go anywhere easily, when you don't interact with the space around you or the people near you, everything can feel like a competition and everyone can feel like an opponent. It always feels like there's not enough time for anything. You end up moving through spaces instead of living in them. Now, as I've said earlier, a slower pace hasn't eliminated stress from my life, and a simple Google search will tell you that right now, people in Tokyo are some of the most stressed people in the world. Stressed about academics, stressed about work, stressed about health. However, after 3 years in a pandemic, 3 years as a parent, and 2 years of family biking, it has been good for my mental health personally to recognize that deliberately or not, I do everything slower now. It has lowered unnecessary stress in almost all facets of my life. And if cities were designed to make things easier for everyone, if essential services were nearby, or kids' schools, childcare, or activities were within proximity, if finding a bathroom didn't feel like winning the lottery, or if we could move slow enough to look up and look around and look each other in the eyes, we might all be able to embrace the stroll or 15-mile-per-hour attitude and alleviate the unnecessary stresses in our lives so we can focus more on improving community care, social cohesion, and overall well-being, which, after all, should be our collective goal.